Tonight, you will lose consciousness for several hours. Your body will go limp, your eyes will dart under their lids, and somewhere inside your skull, an entire world will flicker to life. You call it a dream. But here is the question nobody ever asks. What was that world like before you existed? What did it feel like to dream before electricity, before cities, before language as you know it today? Because your brain did not invent dreaming, it inherited it. And the real answer is far stranger than you think. Every night you enter a state that your brain has been entering for at least 300 million years. Not thousands, not millions, hundreds of millions. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker, who spent decades studying sleep at the University of California, Berkeley, found that REM sleep, the stage where vivid dreaming occurs, is so ancient and so universal that it appears in nearly every vertebrate species alive today. Birds dream, reptiles likely dream. Even the humble platypus, one of the oldest surviving mammals on Earth, shows more intense REM activity than almost any other creature studied. Whatever dreaming is, it was not invented by humans. You received it pre-installed, running in the background of your biology long before your ancestors could name it. So what were they dreaming about? Close your eyes for a moment and think about your last dream. A flickering hallway, a person you once knew, a situation that should not make sense but somehow does. Now imagine stripping away everything modern. No cars, no screens, no buildings, no words for most abstract concepts. Your ancestor, standing on the African savanna 200,000 years ago, closed their eyes each night in the exact same biological state you do now. The same chemical cascade, the same temporary paralysis of the limbs, the same firing of the visual cortex even in total darkness. But what filled that darkness? Anthropologist David Lewis Williams spent years studying both ancient cave art and the dream and trance states of contemporary hunter-gatherer groups. What he discovered was something striking. The earliest images drawn by humans, the ones found deep inside caves in France and South Africa, share a remarkably consistent visual grammar. Spirals, grids, dots, arcs of light, shapes that appear to vibrate. These are not random. They are what neurologists call entoptic phenomena, visual patterns generated by the human nervous system itself during altered states, including deep dreaming. Your ancestor drew what they saw in their mind when their eyes were closed, and it matched what you would see today. Your brain has not changed. The hardware running your dreams tonight is the same hardware that ran theirs. The same limbic system, lighting up with raw emotion. The same hippocampus, replaying fragments of memory and reassembling them into strange new sequences. The same amygdala, the brain's ancient threat detection center, scanning even the dream world for danger. And this is where it gets interesting, because most of what ancient humans dreamed about was almost certainly threat-based. Psychologist Antti Revonsuo at the University of Turku proposed what he called the threat simulation theory of dreaming. His research argued that the primary evolutionary function of dreaming is rehearsal. Your brain uses the dream state to practice escaping predators, navigating danger, and surviving social conflict, so that when those situations arise in waking life, your responses are already loaded. Dreaming, by this theory, is not a side effect of sleep. It is a training simulation, a full-body rehearsal for threats your body never wants to experience unprepared. Think about what that means for your ancestor. Their world was saturated with predators, lions, hyenas, leopards that could take a human silently and without warning, rival groups, venomous animals, the constant arithmetic of survival. When they lay down at night, their sleeping brain did not drift into abstract philosophy. It simulated, it rehearsed. It ran the same life-or-death scenarios over and over, testing escape routes, testing social responses, testing the kinds of split-second calculations that the body needed to get right the first time. And here is what Revonsuo's research found when he analyzed dream content in modern populations. The vast majority of threat dreams still follow ancient templates: being chased, falling, losing teeth, being paralyzed, being trapped. These are not random anxieties. They are fossilized survival programs still running nightly in a brain that has not fully accepted that you are no longer on the savannah. Your nightmares are ancient. They are not signs that something is wrong with you. They are signs that something very old inside you is still doing its job, still preparing you for a world that no longer exists in the same form. It was never only about threat. Even in ancient populations, researchers have documented something equally powerful happening in sleep: emotional processing, memory consolidation, social bonding through the sharing of dream content. Many indigenous cultures around the world treat dreams not as private noise but as communal data. The Akuar people of the Ecuadorian Amazon begin each day before dawn with a ritual called Wayus, where the entire community gathers to share their dreams aloud. Every dream is analyzed, discussed, and used to guide decisions about hunting, relationships, and conflict. Anthropologist Pierre Deliage documented this practice extensively and found that in many traditional societies, dreaming is not something that happens to you in private. It is a resource shared by the group. Your ancestors did not wake up and scroll through their phones. They woke up and told their dreams to the people they trusted. The dream was social. The dream was information. And this tells you something important about what those ancient minds were processing each night. Not only danger, but relationship, status, belonging, loss. The emotional residue of the day, compressed and replayed in symbolic form. Matthew Walker's research at Berkeley showed that during REM sleep, the brain strips emotional tone from memories, essentially helping you process painful experiences without re-traumatizing yourself. You relive what happened, but in a neurochemical environment deliberately stripped of the stress hormones that made it so sharp when it was real. You get to rehearse the emotion without the wound. Your brain runs a nightly therapy session. It always has. Now consider what this means about the content of ancient dreams. Your ancestor did not dream about deadlines or emails, but they dreamed about something functionally equivalent. They dreamed about the hunt that went wrong, the argument with a member of the group, the loss of a child to fever, the rival who looked at them in a way that signaled threat. They woke up and shared it, and the group processed it together, and the emotional weight was distributed and metabolized. This is something modern humans have nearly stopped doing entirely. You dream alone. You wake and say nothing. The ancient mechanism is still running, but the social layer that once surrounded it has been stripped away. There is one more dimension to ancient dreaming that researchers have only recently begun to take seriously. Lucid dreaming, the state in which you become aware that you are dreaming while still inside the dream, appears in the historical record far earlier than previously assumed. References to conscious, controllable dreaming appear in texts from ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, and Tibetan Buddhist traditions dating back over 1,000 years. But the evidence from anthropology suggests it may go much further back than written language. Some researchers believe early shamanic traditions were, in part, a systematic attempt to enter and navigate the dream state deliberately, to visit other realms, retrieve information, and return with guidance for the group. Your ancestor, lying on a bed of animal skin in a cave with fire-lit walls, may have learned to wake up inside their dreams and walk through them with intention. You can still do this. The capacity has not been removed from your biology, it has only been forgotten. Which brings you back to tonight. When the sun goes down and your brain begins its slow drift toward paralysis, when the visual cortex starts firing without input from the outside world, when the amygdala begins scanning a simulated landscape for the shadows of old predators, something 300 million years in the making will switch on inside you. You will not remember most of it. Modern sleep is fragmented. Electric light delayed your melatonin release. The screen you stared at an hour ago primed your brain with stimulation it was not designed to process before sleep. But the dreaming brain will do what it always has done. It will rehearse, it will repair, it will replay what hurt and quietly take the edge off it. It will run ancient threat simulations through corridors that look vaguely like places you have been. It will try to tell you something if you are still enough to listen. Your ancestors understood this. They did not treat the night as an inconvenient gap between productive days. They treated it as a second world, just as real as the waking one, just as full of meaning, just as important to pay attention to. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to lose consciousness for several hours. Your body will go limp. Your eyes will dart under their lids. And somewhere inside your skull, an entire world that has been running for 300 million years will flicker to life. The only question is whether you will remember what it was trying to say.